Hi everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. It's just a quiet, I've got nothing to do day, Saturday here in Costa Rica. And I was doing something that I do a good bit on weekends sometime when I'm just chilling out, doing nothing, being lazy, chillaxing, whatever you want to call it. Since I told you I'm not doing a whole lot on social media as far as participating, like in groups and discussions and whatever, I like to kind of try to know what's going on and see what's happening in the raw vegan world, whatever that is. So a lot of times I'll search hashtags or I'll search keywords, on various social media outlets. I do it on Instagram. I did it this morning on Instagram. I did it on Pinterest. I did it on Twitter. I was looking for some new stuff, searching raw vegan on Facebook. And what I find is complicated, lots of ingredients. And you know what? I'm going to say something. It could very well be me. When I talk about complicated, I don't want to mix it up. Maybe it's just my ADD. I just can't focus on anything that's long, complicated, long list of ingredients, list of steps. I kind of tune out on that. And everything, it's funny, go do it. Search the hashtag raw vegan on Instagram. And what you come up with is a lot of them are pretty pictures, but a lot of them, like the bulk of everything, let me just say, it doesn't matter which platform, the bulk of everything I'm seeing is complicated. It's it's fancy recipes with high fat, a lot of ingredients in there. Well, but then again, it is social media, and I understand people do things on social media for different purposes. Some of that stuff is more picturesque, so to speak. It makes better photos. It makes better sharing, to be quite honest. I'm not self-conscious, but sometimes I'm looking at my poor little account on Instagram, and I'm like, well, that's rather pitiful. I see all these amazing, stunning, technicolor, shots of things, and I can't match up. But that's just my style. That's because I keep it simple, and that's my philosophy. That's the way I do this raw vegan thing, and I'm not going to change. I'm going to kind of stay with that. So I thought I would just do a little weekend talk, kind of in the same mode as, there were a few talks last week that were kind of similar to this. I did the one on mono-mealing, and I'm always talking about, or I'm always trying to talk more and more about simplicity. And maybe simplicity is even on the brain more these days because I'm even getting in a simpler and simpler direction. I just find, as time goes on, the list of what constitutes my everyday food, or what, the amount of things that I eat just keeps going down. And gets simpler and simpler. Right now we're in the midst of our summer, and I'd say, shoot, if you just bananas and mangoes, calorically speaking, just bananas and mangoes are way the bulk of my diet. Bananas and mangoes are probably comprise at least 70% of my diet, the calories in my diet. Yeah. At least 70%. Good chance that there's 8, because if I'm doing, a lot of days I do 20 bananas, about 2,000 calories. That just the bananas is 2/3 of my calories. So, yeah, most everything, I'm living on these days. I'm living on bananas, mangoes, kale, cabbage, broccoli, coconut a couple of times a week with that dressing. Some herbs, I have some spinach. I had some basil last night, but it's all fresh stuff. There's not ingredients in that, and it's like I say, I've told you this story a lot. I know I repeat myself, but I don't assume that everybody watches every video. Like, people are all the time trying to kind of get my take because they know how I eat, even in real life, and they'll hand me something or they'll show me a dish and they'll be like, well, and kind of not in a mean challenging, but now what's wrong with this dish? What's wrong with the ingredients in that? I'm like, well, nothing's wrong with it per se. I'm not judging your food, but if you're asking me, too many ingredients, too much going on, just keep it simple. The processed food, I'm trying to preach more. If I preach at all, I don't try to preach, but The processed food is something I'm trying to bring up more and more these days. Don't worry so much about your ratios, and I'm eating this amount of fruit and that. Get that, you know, as much as getting the animal products out of your life, get that processed food out of your life. Now, I know, you know, if you're living in most places, it's not, I'm saying do the best you can. I don't think it's realistic for a lot of people that they're going to get every bit of processed food out of their life, although it's a worthy goal to strive for. I know I don't have a whole lot of processed in my life. And I try to use as little as possible. And I try to keep that stuff out of my recipes. You know, I'm just learning like what you can do. You know, this has been such a journey, not even just for the health part of it, but it's been such a journey teaching me like simple things that you can combine to make great taste. Like last night, and I'll do a video on this eventually. I did a video. I did a recipe for the first time that a Facebook friend had come up with, and I wanted to make it. And it was just, you know, I had some basil and spinach in there. Basil, spinach, and lime juice, and there was the base, and it was just so good. But this is simple stuff. This is where I go when people, I mean, you know, like I say, I don't criticize other people's diet or what they're eating, but it's kind of like when they come to me asking me questions, I don't know quite how to respond because I don't include that stuff in there. And that would be my first thing is just, well, get rid of that. Get rid of that processed, you know, crap out of your diet. And, you know, hey, as I always say, I'm talking about raw vegan here, basic, simple, raw vegan. But let's stick to the basic and simple part. Let's focus more on the basic and the simple part and the vegan part than we do on the raw part. Because I'll always stand by what I say. I would much rather, and this is just my opinion, so, you know, like I say, everything I say on here is my opinion. So if you disagree, that you have a valid reason to, do it your way. This is just my way that I do it. But you know, I would rather see you eat simple, basic, clean, cooked food over some of this complicated, high-fat, processed ingredients. Well, no, it's not processed, it's totally raw, but you see what I'm saying. I'd rather see you eat clean cooked food than see you eat fatty, not so clean raw food. Always make that choice. Always make choice for the clean. You know, forget the whole raw versus cooked thing. Always go for the clean. Always go for the most pure choices that you have available to you. And, you know, hey, we're not that far out. God, it's just scary how time just flies around. I mean, we're already, you know, I know it's still cold right now, but what's the date? February 21st? We're not that far from spring, and then summer will be here before you know it. And for you young folks, that time just goes faster and faster and faster and faster and faster until the years are just going by. So it won't be too long before you have that chance to get back to the fresh, to get back to the fruit, to get back to the hopefully local stuff. Like you can get more, you know, more stuff that's a little bit more local to you also. But anyhow, just listen. I'm going to keep preaching this message over and over and over and over. Don't look to complicate it. Don't look to, maybe there's watching too many videos. Maybe there's reading into this. Maybe there's, I don't know. There's a fine balance between when you have to look with a certain type of eyes, or you have to use your eyes a certain type of way and filter out some of this information. When you see these things that are complicated and are talking in scientific, big words, and it impresses you, it's good to understand that kind of stuff, but the basic message of this whole lifestyle is about as simple as it gets. When it boils down to it, and then I could never make another video again, and nobody else needs to make another video in the raw vegan subject again, eat a lot of fruit. Eat some good greens and vegetables to balance out the fruit. Get some healthy fat in there. If you're eating fully raw, God bless you. That's good. If you're eating some cooked food and you're eating clean, you're probably on a good path. But whatever you do, just keep it simple. Stop looking for the never-ending list of recipes. I'll tell you what, do a little challenge for me just for the next couple of weeks. Don't pay attention to anything that's complicated. If somebody throws a recipe out there and there's like 12 ingredients, 6 or 8 ingredients. If it's complicated, go on, pass on to the next one. Just stick to that simple. Try to keep things simple. Try to keep the images in your head simple. Besides what you're eating simple, watch the simple people. Watch, you know, try to just get that essence, get that mentality into your head. But anyway, I'm just rambling and repeating now. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this weekend message. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and hope you're having a phenomenal weekend. Love you guys. Peace.